What's going on, everybody? Thank you for joining me today. If you're interested in learning a really great, super effective trout pattern, great for Euro nymphing, tight lining, indicator fishing, whatever you're using it for, it fits all of them. Looks like a good piece there. I like to find these nice brown. They got the nice mix between the brown and the gray pieces, but it really depends on the hide that you get. But above all, I like to find a nice fluffy piece. I think this one looks pretty good. This one already has that nice taper, so I'm going to go ahead and use this one. What's up, Kevin? Why what? Pretty thin, but it should still work. I'm going to poke the hook point through the hide as best as I can. Let's see. I think that worked. Yeah, that'll work. It's always hard to tell when with these pine squirrel strips, some of them are so thin you almost can't tell whether your hook point gets through them or not. That'll work. And I like to create a little dam right at the base of the bend so that this strip doesn't slide down any further than I want it to. Thank you guys for joining me today. I am tying up some micro streamers, and if you are a Euro nymph fisher, this would also be a great Euro streamer pattern. I don't Euro fish myself, but I do use these with tight lining methods, and when I'm teaching beginners, I will also throw it under an indicator or bobber. Hey, what's up, DTO? How have you been, man? Just gonna pinch this hide. I like to lock it in right in front of the hook point here. Do some light wraps, keep that hide on top. You can see it likes to spin a little bit sometimes. I'll work with that. Mr. Adam Wheatman, what's up, Adam? Thanks for joining in today. Appreciate you. Hey, let's get discussions going in the chat, guys. Where you guys coming in from? Where's everybody fishing at? Yeah, I hear that, DTO. Hear that. Yeah, we're supposed to actually get some winter weather here in New Mexico this weekend. I'm actually excited for it because we haven't seen any snow this year, so I'm ready for that. Coming from the UK, sweet, man. Hey Adam, you fly fish out there? Stay flipped. There we go. is thin, as long as it's locked in, it doesn't stop spinning, then I'm happy with it, which it looks like it did. Cool. Yeah, it's the same here, DTO. It's like that. At least in the city, like in Albuquerque where I'm at, it snows. You know, we might get a few inches, and then it's gone by either 1 or 2 o'clock if the sun comes out, or the next day it's gone. But I'm always happy as long as the mountains, I see the mountains off where I go and fish, you know, up north. As long as those mountains are packed with snow, I'm happy, because then I know that, you know, the lakes are going to get filled up during the runoff season. I know the rivers are going to have good flow. So that's what I like to see. I'll leave this tail a little long on this guy, just to see. You can always trim it up later. I kind of go, when I'm making this fly specifically, I kind of go based off of the hook shank length. This guy's on a size 12, so I'll go about 2.5 times the hook shank, but sometimes I go a little longer if I want a more of a minnow type imitation rather than a leech. Hey, what's up, Antone? Do I get big fish a lot? Well, my clients certainly do. Yeah, I've got some posts on the channel, and I've got some of my best catches. I broke some PBs last year. Posted some pictures on the channel. I've got a couple of videos. If you want to see proof that this fly works, head over to the website. Website link is in the channel description. Where are you coming in from, Anton? What's up, Tammy? Thanks for joining in. So I really like this polar flash on this fly, because it's just almost as lifelike as the pine squirrel and rabbit hair. So everything really moves uniform and flowy. It all works together really well. And the way I like to do it is I like to tie in a long end about the same length as the hide, and then I'm going to flip this over and tie in a short bunch just to create a natural taper. Just like that. A couple of light reps. I'm trying to keep this right underneath the fly. It can flare out to the sides just a little bit, but I don't want it flipping over to the top of the fly with the hide. 2 hours west towards Grants. Oh, you're a fellow New Mexican, man. Well, what's up? You're more into lure fishing? That's cool, man. That's cool. What do you like to go after out there, Adam? There we go. Just use my fingernail to kind of push it, spread it around a little bit, but like I said, it's staying on the bottom, so when I flip it over, and a lot of people ask me, what do I tie upside down? It's not technically upside down. This is supposed to be a jig fly, so I just like to tie it in the vise the way it's going to be, you know, fished in the water. That was a perfect amount of flash there. So now to add to it, I'm going to take a rabbit strip. I like to find one with good length, like this guy right here. It's kind of hard to tell until you unfold it, but I like to get some of the hair that has some decent length on it, like that. What I'm gonna do, let me get to that longer section. I think it was right here. Perch, pike, zander, carp gear also. Oh, dude, I love fishing for carp, man. Specifically fly fishing for them, but yeah, carp are fun. Especially when you start getting them in that 25, 30 pound range. Dude, they're so much fun. Pike as well. Pike here where I'm at are very elusive. We don't have huge populations of pike here in New Mexico. So they're more of a trophy here. When you do catch them, and when you do catch a big one, it's pretty awesome. It's pretty awesome. Okay, I want to get a decent little clump here. Let's see. Just like to cut off maybe about an inch off of the hide. That's not a big enough stack there. Stand by, guys. Sometimes the hide is thinner than it actually looks, and it's hard to keep track of it. You cut it off and lose some of it, but it's alright. That should do it. I'm just going to stack this up in my fingers, because all I'm going to do is tie this straight in to blend in with that polar flash. Give this a two-toned kind of minnow pattern. This is just, again, to keep up with the profile of this fly. I'm just stacking this in. Yeah, that's perfect. You don't want to do too much hair on the bottom here, because what I found is when you stack a little too much, then that hook point isn't going to keel over the way you want it to. So keep it somewhat sparse, but just enough to start creating your minnow profile. Biggest carp is 34 pounds. Damn, dude. That's a nice one. Yep. I need to start bringing a scale with me out there. I don't know. I never get a precise measurement, or I'm sorry, a precise weight reading. But I would like to. I've just kind of been going off of length and using that little orange ball. I forget what it's called. A little reader that'll tell you the girth and length and estimate the weight based on that. That's kind of what I have been going off of. But I'd like to actually see the real actual weight, measured weight. Most people weigh in pounds, but some people weigh in kilograms too. Okay, let's see. That's that. Now we're going to do a dubbing loop to finish this fly off. It's pretty simple, straightforward, not really, probably one of my least complex patterns, oddly enough, but it's also one of my most effective. This shank here. Makes it sound bigger, yeah. Yeah, that's for sure. Okay, give me a decent sized dubbing loop. And the same thing, I'm gonna finish this off with pine squirrel, just to keep the consistent color going throughout this fly. I might be able to, I don't know. Nah, let's dubbing loop it, because I don't want the extra weight in this fly, though it might work. Just doesn't give you as clean of a finish when you just, sometimes I'll just go ahead and palmer the pine squirrel in as it is, but it doesn't give the same clean finish. With a dubbing loop, you can really get tight behind this bead and stack up your hair under there. And I'll show you exactly why I prefer that here in a minute. Do I make UV flies? Like glow in the dark, you mean specifically? Because there are different, when you say UV, there's like UV flash, UV glue, there's all kinds of UV stuff, but do you mean specifically like glow? I have it pinched in my little dubbing tool here. I'm just gonna go through, try to cut as close to the hide as I possibly can. Doesn't always play out that way, but yeah, I do actually. Back when I had an online shop, I was selling flies. I had a couple of orders come in from some guys that were night fishing for swordfish, which I thought was pretty cool. But he had requested using some UV glow material in some of the big pike flies that I was tying. So I did that for him, and then I ended up having a bunch of UV glow material that I had never used before. And, oh, no. Hold on. Oh, I just lost that all. Oh, that was horrible. Damn. Well. That sucked. I can't really, once I drop this hair, I can't really, I can try to put it back into the dubbing loop, but it just doesn't work the same. Can't believe I lost that. Oh well. I'll grab a new strip and redo. Put that to the side if I want to use extra later on. Oh, but yes, Adam, check this out real quick. Do I have... Oh yeah, here we go. So here's kind of like a UV glow pike fly that I use. That pink in there, it's supposed to imitate a little rainbow trout, you know, but the pink in there actually has like a UV glow for some extra night glow in there. And then it's got a ton of UV flash on the tail as well. What's up, Burke Trout? I've been tying for, I think it's about 7 or 8 years now, on and off. Not really consistently, but over the last couple of years, where I tie consistently is when I'm stocking up my fly boxes for the guide season. And I gotta stock up on that. I'll definitely sit down at the vise quite often. Is it Jahardi? Jahardi, what's up, man? Thanks for stopping by. You guys just witnessed me lose probably about $2 worth of material there. It's still usable, you know, and I can use it in other ways, but for this specific pattern, I like to get it straight in my dubbing tool like this so I can lay it into my dubbing loop much easier. And I can keep the length consistent as well. That's kind of the whole purpose. Okay, let's try this again. And I'm missing hide right there. Come on. Better here. Hopefully I have enough. I've got a pretty good gap between my material and my bead, so hopefully I've got enough. I like to get it in one swing, but if I have to do another dubbing loop, I will. There we go, much better. Much better. I'll just push the butt on the butt end side just to get the long tips. Spread it out a little bit. Tedious, but not difficult. If you're just joining in, thanks for stopping by. Appreciate you coming in. Tying up some micro streamers today, specifically to target trout. This has been one of my best producing guide flies for the last couple of years. Works really well in multiple different techniques and styles. If you're introducing a beginner to nymph fishing, you can easily fish this under an indicator or bobber. You can Euro nymph with it if Euro nymphing is your style. But the way I like to use it is on tight lining methods. Usually on floating line. Sometimes I'll use it on intermediate. But floating line is my preference. And all I'm doing right now is just finishing off this profile with some heavy pine squirrel, a heavy pine squirrel dubbing loop. No, I have not been sturgeon fishing. I haven't gone too far out of New Mexico where I'm at. I've gone to Colorado, Arizona, Texas. I've gone to Washington and Oregon a long time ago, but I have not done any destination fishing like that. There we go. Very nice. Had more than enough hair there. Now all I'm going to do is just stack this up really tight behind the bead. I don't like to see the thread wrap, so I'm going to keep it very minimal and make sure these wraps are tight. What's up, Pappin? Thanks for coming in today, man. The key to the clean finish is if with your bobbin you want to catch some of those fibers, so you've got a really clean finish and that hair stays stacked up really tight to the bead. Turn that guy off. have yourself a nice little, possibly sculpin imitation if you needed it to be. I started this as a leech imitation, but in this color, it definitely looks like a nice little minnow or sculpin pattern. Alright, so I don't want to do too many wraps there. Now I'm just going to comb through this guy. Get that hair to flare out just a little bit more. Get any of the loose hair out of it. Blend it in with the material, the first materials I tied in. And it blends beautifully with the tail. And in the water, this thing comes to life. Now, this pattern specifically is one of my favorite clear water patterns. So in crystal clear conditions, especially the trout river that I'm fishing on, gets a lot of pressure, sees a lot of flies, probably seen every fly in the world possible. But in those clear water situations, I have a little bit more faith in a fly that has the hook point buried into the profile of it. With this one, it's not as buried as I would like it to be. I'll tie up another pattern here. I'll show you a white with a pink bead, and I'll show you how you can really bury that hook point into it. Just a theory, I don't know that it actually makes a difference, but it just gives me more confidence when I know that hook point is hidden in the profile. And it seems to work really well. Whenever the conditions aren't clear, then it doesn't really matter. As long as you get the profile of the fly that you're wanting right and get it down, that's all that matters. And that's it right there. It's my favorite. I think this is my favorite color right here. It's just that natural pine squirrel. It's fantastic. Hey, that guy, Yoshi, what's going on, guys? Thank you guys for joining in today. Appreciate you. Well, thank you, sir. I appreciate that. Do my spider weave finish there. Trim it off. And that's what I like a lot about this. When you put a bead on a fly like that and you stack your material right tight to that bead, you usually don't have to worry about putting UV on your thread wraps there. I've never ran into any unraveling issues with this pattern specifically without putting any, UV on it. If you wanted to, obviously it's just going to give it that much more extra durability, but it's not necessary. And actually, I thought this tail was going to be too long, but that is perfect. That's exactly the profile of this fly. So let's see, that looks like, I would probably say that's about 3 times the hook shank. So if we go from the bead to where the bend is, yeah, that's about 3 times the length on the tail there. So when you tie that strip in, just keep that in mind. 3 times the length will get you that perfect profile. I don't like it too short, because if it's too short, it just looks kind of funny, and it doesn't have the same tail action, same wiggly tail action in the back there. So you want it to be long enough, definitely. But that's spot on. All right, let me show you guys the next pattern. Same pattern, just different color here. We're gonna do a white one. And for those who are curious, I'm using a fulling mill. This is the Jig 4 short black nickel, size 12. That's my hook of choice there. I definitely tie this up in any other sizes, but this seems to be the perfect, like the most producing size. But I'll definitely tie it up bigger for bass and a little bit smaller sometimes if I want to be a little bit more stealthy or more finesse with the presentation. And And I am using a 3.2 millimeter tungsten, slotted tungsten bead, also fulling mill. Really like their products. Hey, Disavowed, I appreciate that, man. I appreciate you. Yes, please, if you guys don't mind, hit that like button for me. And if you're not subscribed to the channel, come check it out. See if it's something that you want to subscribe to. I've got other fly tying tutorials. I've got on the water footage, fly fishing how-tos, all kinds of good stuff. And more content on the way. Okay, so now between the natural and this white with the pink bead, I really don't know which one catches more fish for me. They both do. They both do pretty good work on trout. Well, again, I appreciate that, Disavowed. I really do. That means a lot. Same to all you guys. Everybody who comes in and watches. You guys come in and check out the channel and watch the new videos. I really appreciate you guys. You're helping out not only my YouTube channel, but you're also helping spread the awareness of my business. You know, as the owner of SpiritFly Expeditions, you know, we're really trying our best to get out there and you know, create a successful business. So thank you guys. You guys are really helping to support all of that. Okay, so now we're gonna do just rabbit strip on this one, but I'll show you, you have to do a slightly different technique when you tie this strip in because the hide is a little bit thicker than that pine squirrel. If you like it, you know, definitely go with it, but for myself, I like to trim down that hide and make it a little thinner, and I'll show you how I do that here in a second. I'm going to trim off, it's about 1.5 inches there. It's definitely much easier to get this guy on the hook point. It's easy to tell where it's going. Keep in mind your length, and make sure you pierce that hide right in the middle, right about like that. If it goes a little too far off to one side or the other, that's going to be a weak point. You could end up ripping through the hide. Doesn't happen often, but just something to keep in mind. Should have enough of a thread down there. Now, I think I need a little bit more. I didn't put enough. Again, just another durability step right here. This helps keep that hide from sliding all over, or sliding further down the shank than you want. That should be good. And when I pin this hide down, just make sure you come right in front of the hook point. This is important because this adds to how well your hook point is hidden in the profile of this. So if you pinch it down in front of the hook point, what it's going to do here, I'll show you, is when I pin it down, all of this hair from the hide is actually going to flare out enough to almost cover that hook point up. Just like that. It's exactly what you want. So then when you do your dubbing loop to finish the fly off, this is all going to blend in really well, and you won't even be able to see that hook point. Come up to the front of the hide just to lock that to the shank. I'll do that a couple of times because sometimes it'll spin on you. If you just try to wrap around the hide only, it'll just keep spinning on you. But if you come over to the front and do some securing wraps onto the shank, that'll stop spinning. want to leave enough room up to that bead. Ermelinda, thanks for joining in. If you're feeling chatty, let me know where you're coming in from. I'm always curious and interested where everybody's fishing at, where you guys are from. Let's see, this is slightly too long. I'm gonna cut this. I'm gonna cut it off right there. Make sure to fold that hair forward before I cut it, so I still have a nice taper of hair off the back end. Yeah, that looks better. Okay, so now with rabbit hide, for this small of a fly, this is where I like to trim it a little bit. And I'll come from one side, and I'm going for a V shape. Trimming it down to a point. Already almost has it, but I'm gonna keep going. Make this hide a little bit thinner. About like that. You can make it taper a little bit more, but as long as it has that point, that rabbit strip is going to have a lot of action in the water. That's it. Now let's move on. Put some flash in the belly. Same thing I did in the other fly. I just like to line this first stack. I'll line it up to the hide, about the same length as the hide. I don't want it further than that. This is just keeping the profile in mind. A couple of light wraps just to hold it in place. Curly Q there. That's fine. Then I'm going to fold this back a little bit shorter. Again, just keeping in mind the profile. This also helps keep everything in line as well. So I'm going to do probably about half the length of the first stack, maybe a little longer. Same thing, light wraps, keep it in place. Use your nail to kind of spread it around a little bit. This one, it doesn't really matter because it's going to be an all white fly, so even if some of those polar flash fibers turn up a little bit, it's okay. It still ends up working out well. What's up, Albert? Thanks for joining in today. So just with that one little stack of polar flash, I can probably tie, I'll probably tie one more with this one. So 3 flies with that one little stack there. Just ways to be efficient and use your materials sparingly. And I'll do the same thing again that I did earlier. Let me grab some more white rabbit hair just to blend in the bottom here. I suppose it doesn't have to be too long since it's going to be a shorter stack than the polar flash. What's up, guys? What's up? What's up? Thank you for coming in. Really appreciate you. If you just popped in right now, I'm tying up some micro streamers for all kinds of different fly fishing styles. This fly might be liked particularly by the Euro nymph fly fishermen. Really great jig style pattern. This fly is guide tested and guide proven. A couple of light wraps before I cinch it down. Spread it around to the sides a little bit, and then I'll wrap forward and start doing some securing wraps, putting more tension on it. Hard to say just about. It's hard to say. I think that a lot of times with the fly tying, the fly fishing community, you know, not everybody wants to chat it up, which is okay with me. I totally get it. You know, a lot of us are people that like to spend time in nature, and we like to be out on the river alone, and that's our time to unwind and relax, and maybe even sometimes get away from people. You know, I totally get it. So if you're just in here watching, enjoying the fly tying and getting ideas for your next patterns or tying along with me, either way, I appreciate it. Appreciate you guys being here. And just know that I totally understand. I got my days too. Get my days where I want to just be out on the river alone. I don't want to talk to anybody. Don't want to interact. So I totally get that. No problems there. Let me pull this back just a little bit there. Okay, time for, so I can do one of two things here. I can keep this fly all white, which I do like. All white with the pink bead usually works very well. But sometimes I do like this other pattern, which I don't have. Let me grab my rabbit hair real quick. So I really like, when I want to add a little bit of color contrast in this guy, I'll add some of this gray color in. Similar to the pine squirrel, but it doesn't have the same, it's not exact, it's not as sculpin looking, you know, the patterns and the coloration on the pine squirrel. But this gray, I think they call it chinchilla, works pretty well to give it a two-tone kind of minnow color variation. So what I'm going to do is try, these are my last two little chunks here, I'm going to try to get this all into my dubbing tool. So that's not going to be enough there. Back a little bit, tie in a dubbing loop, pinch that close together so you've got a nice tight loop. If your thread is too far separated right here where it connects, you won't be able to pinch your materials as well. So just keep that in mind. What's going on, everybody? Thank you for joining in. Thank you for saying hi in the chat. I appreciate you. I see you. What I might have to do here is if I just get it pinched. Oh, I see what's going on. I see. Yeah, this will be easy. Let me just pinch it there. I'm not going to need the hair to be this long, so actually it is pretty nice to work with the longer rabbit hair as opposed to the pine squirrel. Pine squirrel hair is much shorter off the hide. This makes it easy because I don't need the full length of this rabbit hair. Kind of throws off the balance of the proportions on this fly. What's up, Kenneth? Am I familiar with the channel called The Craft? No, I'm not. Never heard of that one. Is it a fly tying channel? Get these short ends pulled through so I can grab that with my dubbing loop. Hey, what's up, David? From Kansas City, looking for some good bass and crappie ideas. Oh man, well this is a perfect crappie fly right here for you, man. It's nice and small. They can easily grab it, and it has a good hookup ratio. I also tie this fly bigger for bass as well. I do a lot of smallmouth and largemouth fishing. This is a great pattern for those guys as well. Especially smallmouth, because smallmouth, I have a lot more success on smaller patterns. You know, there's times where you can hook, you know, some of the bigger smallmouth on really big flies, but generally, if I go out, I like to go with a smaller fly, and this guy fits that perfectly. This guy will fit in that size range of small crayfish, little minnows, hellgrammites, damselflies. You know, it just fits into that size category really well. So this is a great pattern for you, David. What's up, guys? Thank you. Thanks for coming in. Really appreciate you guys being here. So I'm just combing through my dubbing loop, getting any loose fibers out of there. Doesn't matter, you don't need it in there if they're not secured. And I'll wrap every single rotation. I'm going to go ahead and comb those fibers back so it stays consistent. Everything folds back naturally. Just like so. Now you can get really creative with rabbit hair because there are so many different color blends of it. You know, you've got the barred rabbit strips, which I have not used for this pattern yet, but that would work really well if you're really trying to create some realistic color designs. And then rabbit strips come in so many different colors as well. You know, you can get the bright chartreuse and pinks, and that's really cool. So you can blend all these different colors together. You've got the options available be able to create this pattern into any specific color design that you like. So I'm going to catch some of those fibers with my bodkin. Again, this just helps create that clean finish, nice smooth profile all the way tight to the bead. Just like that. Good. Make sure pull both ends tight. That's it. Thanks for dropping by today, guys. If you're just coming in, if you wouldn't mind hitting that like and subscribe button for me. If this is the kind of thing you're into, we've got lots of fly tying tutorials on the channel. So if you want to go back and watch some of the patterns that you see me tie in my live streams and you want to tie them up for yourself, by all means. I'm just going to comb through here. So see, with this pattern now you can see, since those rabbit hairs are a little bit longer, create a little bit wider profile than the pine squirrel. And that hook point really is buried in all of those fibers there, which is what I really like about this pattern. I don't know. It's just something I've done since the beginning of my fly tying journey. For some reason, I just always like to hide my hook point inside of my streamers. Streamers especially, I mean, obviously you can't really do that very much with nymphs and dry flies, but with streamers specifically, that's just how I've always done it. Works out well for me. There we go. Spot on. Tight. Do your whip finish or whatever finish you prefer. Keep them light, because if you look at the space between the hair and the bead, there's not very much, and that's how I like to do it. That's the best way to get the full profile throughout this fly. If you do, like I see a little bit of space right there, what I will do is match that thread to the bead to create a little hot spot, or you can even put a brighter color to create a hot spot on the fly. Entirely your preference. There you go. There's the completed version. I think I saw the thread kind of poking through there. What's up, Winston? Thanks for joining in today, my friend. Yeah, there's not much. I could leave it, but I'm just gonna hit it with a little bit of pink. Not necessary, but just what I like to do. I need a little bit more blended right here in the belly. See some chunks of under fur kind of clumped in there. Don't want that in your dubbing loop, because that's gonna prevent this fly from having as much flow and pulsating action on its own. And that's what you want. Sweet. Spot on, guys. Spot on. Like that profile. Alright, now let's tie up. Let's see. Actually, I need to see what's in my box first before I go tying away. You guys get a little peek at my guide box for trout. So this is my streamer section, filled with all of these little jig leech patterns from black to brown, natural and white, like you saw me tie up. And I do need some more olive pine squirrel though. Don't have enough of this olive. That's another good pattern too. If I were to line these up from my best to least favorite, it would definitely be this one right here is number 1. Number 2 is going to be the natural gray and white. This guy here, you can put it with a copper bead. I did mine earlier with a brown bead. That guy's second, and then third are these olive ones. Same thing, I'll do them in a pink bead. Sometimes an orange bead works well with that guy, with the olive, but I do need more of those. I don't have the pine squirrel, and then I've got some chartreuse. But it looks like I've got a decent amount of the natural, so I'll leave that guy there. What's up, Craig? Thanks for joining in today, man. But let's do some more white. Let's do an all white one. I got a couple of all white here, but you can never have enough. Let's do one more. Let's do one more. Oh, and then here's the other side of that, if you're interested. These are my nymphs. A lot of emerger types. It's kind of my favorite. Emergers are my favorite to pair with this type of fly right here. Just because I'm doing the swinging or tight lining method, so you know, swinging a little emerger fly trail behind this guy works really well. Yeah, let's get back to it. So I've got the pink. Let's see, I'll do one with a copper bead rather than the pink now. Same size, 3.2 millimeter slotted tungsten bead by Fulling Mill. That's what I'm going with there, and then the size 12 jig hook. Also, size thread I'm using is 6/0. It's just thin enough and just strong enough to really lock down these materials, but not overcrowd the shank too much.
Irte copas con tus padres puede ser vergonzoso. Gracias a la Chismobola, tu hijo va de compras y tú revisas sus gastos. Para que puedas ir de
create that little thread down there. What's up, Dine, Thomas? Thank you guys for coming in. Appreciate you. Just tying up some little micro streamers right now. Very effective little trout. Well, I keep saying it's effective trout fly, but it's also caught so many other different things for me, you know, bass and trout, carp. Carp really love this fly too. Excellent, just a little jig minnow or jig leech imitation here. Can't go wrong with this guy. What's up, Landon? I'm tying some streamer flies for fly fishing. Yeah, let's go with that. I like to set it longer anyways, just in case, give myself some extra room if I need it. You a fly fisherman, Landon? Or Landon's fossil? back just a little bit. Didn't leave myself enough room there. There we go. That should work. Make sure that's not going to slide down the hook shank there. Perfect. Lock down this hide in front of the point. Let's go a little bit further. One turn up. Wrap. Got to stay on the top. A couple of wraps in the front. Put some pressure on it to lock that down as best as you can. This one keeps turning on me for some reason. Yeah, what's going on? I don't like how much this is turning. There we go. I got her. Sometimes you gotta wrestle with it a little bit. Not a problem. There we go. Just enough you can create a little even slope here to your bead. That's just going to help with the next materials that you tie in there. Now I'll flip this over. Looks like I got the length just right. So I'm just going to trim it again to a point. Always like to do that with the rabbit strip. I'll do it with the pine squirrel as well, but usually it's thin enough that you don't have to worry about it. There we go. Very nice. I'm going to see if I can't trim this guy back a little bit more. Create more of a thin, kind of imitating the pine squirrel. Just doing little by little, just like you would with a deer hair bug when you're doing the trimming part. Always do less. That looks good to me. We'll work with that. And now, where did my stack? There it is. A stack of polar flash. Wish some of these would just stay somewhat straight. That's fine. Light wraps. I usually do 2. Just to hold that in place. Spread it around a little bit. Keep it touching the hide. Fold it back over for a short stack. Same thing, 2 loose wraps. Just so you have it have it so that you're not having to wrestle with it too much. Usually just kind of lightly press with your fingernail and it'll spread out the way you want. Then you can come forward, a couple more loose wraps, and then I'll cinch it down. This way this side of the polar flash doesn't move. I thought I was only going to be able to tie one more fly with that, but still might have one more fly in that stack. Possibly. We'll see. Trap all that down. Come back, and now we're going to add the under fibers. I like this one because the fiber's a little bit longer. Would crystal flash be an acceptable material to use? Yes, absolutely. I have tied a couple patterns with the crystal flash. The only thing is I just don't like how stiff it is, because if you look at the completed fly and imagine that that's where you tie crystal flash in, it'll be very stiff off the back, which it works. You know, your crystal flash is just a different material, but it works. I like the polar flash because it's very supple. You know, this polar flash blends in well with the rabbit hair. But absolutely, if you just have crystal flash, even Flashaboo would work well. You know, there's all kinds of things you could use. UV. I've even used UV craft fur or EP brush. You know, just to get a little bit of flash in there. That's all it is. So whatever you have available will definitely work. Hey, Ronnie, thank you. Appreciate that. Let's see. Let's stack up a little bit more than that. Now just remember for this step, when you're stacking the hair with the polar flash or your choice of flash, you don't want to do it super heavy because that will affect how this fly actually swims in the water. You want it to remain a jig action, meaning that the hook point is going to keel over so that you can drag this fly on the bottom, bounce it off rocks, logs, you know, that kind of thing. So just keep that in mind. You don't want to stack it up too heavy. I've done it. Not a huge, it's not a big factor, but you know, just to keep it in mind. It's more of a profile setter. And right about there, I'll make it shorter than the flash. Same thing, loose wraps, just to hold it in place. Spread that around a little bit. Then you can wrap forward with some tension. There we go. What's up, ever loving? 100th like, I like it. I like it. Thank you guys so much. I think that's the most likes I've had on a stream ever. So thank you guys. Appreciate you being here to watch. All the support means a lot. So thank you guys. Up a little bit. I like to leave a good amount of space right behind that bead for my dubbing loop wraps, but also create enough of a transition or a ramp so that it's easier for that dubbing loop to stack up in there. And then one thing I didn't do on the last fly was kind of comb through that rabbit hair stack on the bottom just to thin it out a little bit. I almost put too much. Almost. But it's not bad. That'll work. Just go to the base of the stack and push through it. You'll get any of those under fibers and loose hair out of there. So you've got a nice light, flowy fly. Alright, let's do the dubbing loop. Get like 20. Hey, ever loving, it takes time, man, and with YouTube it's kind of funky. It goes in and out, you know, like sometimes I get on here and it's like that for me too, you know. But I mean, I've been streaming for I think almost 2 years now, year and a half at least. You gotta put the work in. Barbless, yes. Yes, all my flies I tie are barbless. Always, always, always. Does not matter what species I'm going after. I'm always tying barbless flies. Let me get my dubbing hair ready. I do love my fish, I do. And the way that I see it is that fly fishing as a whole is an experience. And if I'm seeing catching fish as the only goal, then I might go to barbless hooks. But for myself, catching fish is not the main goal. That's just the bonus. That is the added bonus. There we go. And not only that, aside from just being nicer to the fish, you know, how about be nicer to yourself? Because if you fly fish long enough, you will smack yourself in the back, in the shoulder, in the back of your head with a fly or two. You will. That's a guarantee. So when you do that, and let's say you're casting a 4/0 pike fly with a huge barb in it, and it smacks you in the back at 60 miles an hour, what are you going to do? Right? So, be kinder to yourself. Because here's what I always tell people. I guarantee you, if you smack yourself with a hook that's got a barb on it, and it goes deep, you're going to rush to the hospital, right? So, why do that to the fish? If you can't handle it, then don't have it on the end of your line. That's what I say. Now, I have handled plenty of hooks. When I go after pike and muskie, I have stuck myself with more than I want to admit. Plenty of 3, 4, 5/0 hooks into my shoulder or the back of my arm. And that sucks. It hurts, but because it's barbless, it's not a big deal. Easy in, easy out. Easy in, easy out. little too much of a gap there. Wait, what's going on? It's sliding so much. Strange. Yep, I'm right there with you, sir. I think the same thing. That's a badge of honor. Heck yeah. Heck yeah. If you haven't hooked yourself yet when going out to fly fish, you're not doing it enough. That's all I'm gonna say. Oh man. So let me get, if you were going after walleye, were you, I'm gonna guess that was probably a treble hook coming at you at 100 miles an hour. Oh, dude. Stuck between your fingers, too. Oh, man. Damn. Damn. I know that hurt. Couple of securing wraps. See, it's kind of flaring out that or those hairs a little bit, which is exactly what you want. You want that stack nice and tight to the bead. Now you can come through, comb out any of those fibers. There you go, man. Yep, that's the best thing to do. Just keep on laughing, right? Just keep on laughing and keep on fishing. See, so as I'm combing through this, if you're gonna tie this up for yourself, I'm feeling, you can see the under fur and the loose fibers that are coming out of my bodkin. So that's all I'm doing. A brush would probably be a little more effective at it, or a comb, but I just utilize what I have, and it works. That's all I'm doing, just trying to get out any of the clumps that are gonna waterlog this fly when it gets wet. Not that it really matters that much. It's a jig fly anyways. It's meant to get down deep. So, but with this one, this is the perfect example of why I like to create these big fluffy flies with streamers. That hook point is almost non-existent, which for me, in my experience, it seems in clear water situations or high pressure situations, that hook point being hidden makes a big difference in whether a fly or a fish commits to this fly or not. This will catch everything. Yeah, man, it pretty much does. Shoot, I've even caught tiger muskie on this thing. This size. Maybe even smaller. I think it was even smaller. But yeah. Yeah, it does catch everything. Carp, crappie, any kind of panfish, bass, trout. Trout is mainly what I use it for. This guy is a trout slayer, no doubt. So as I was saying earlier, if you are a Euro nymph fisher, you do tight lining, you like to use Euro jigs, Euro flies, all that kind of thing. Tie this guy up and try it out. I promise you it will catch you fish. You know, that's a good idea. I will do a little tutorial on that for you. I can do the standard whip finish by hand, but sometimes it doesn't always work with how I want the finish of the fly. So that finish that you just saw me did by hand, but with my hands, I call it the spider weave finish. I don't know. That's just what I came up with. I don't know if it's a real thing, if somebody else has done it before me. I don't know, but that's just what I call it, the spider weave finish. There you go, guys. That is my jig leech or jig minnow fly tied up. Let me know what you guys think. Let me know if it does anything for you. Also, don't forget, post in the community. Post in the SpiritFly community. If you do tie some of these flies up, I'd love to see it. I'd love to help you guys out, get some feedback. I'm more than happy to help you with your flies, whatever you're tying up. Post some pictures of your catches with it, all that kind of stuff. I'd love to see it. Post it in the SpiritFly community. Oh, thank you, sir. Appreciate that. Appreciate that. Well, that's it, guys. I'll be logging off here. I appreciate all of you for being here today. It really means a lot. If you haven't already, please like and subscribe. We've got lots of other fly tying tutorials on the channel, on the water footage, fly tying how-tos, all kinds of good stuff. So if it's something you want to keep up with, please do hit that subscribe button. Also, remember, hit those notifications. It will let you know whenever I'm live or whenever any kind of new content has been posted. But thank you all for being here. Appreciate you guys. I'll be streaming this weekend, so keep an eye out. You guys go out there and get some fishing done, and I will catch you in the next one.